Hi. I'd like to talk about specifically understanding annotations, what they are, why they're important, and good text evidence for academic writing. So, what do I want you to walk away with after listening to me talk about this stuff? Well, one, I want you to know what it means to annotate while reading. That doesn't just mean in like a literature class, that means in life, anywhere, anytime, no matter your age. Two, what are some different methods of annotating and maybe why do they help? How could they help? Which one would you sort of choose that fits you best? Three, what does it mean to use text evidence and kind of how that correlates with annotating, how annotating helps with that? And four, what kinds of text evidence are the best practice when supporting claims? So, a couple of questions to first ponder, and I really like this little image because I think it definitely speaks to this idea of perspective and point of view that we discuss in literature all the time as well. And the couple questions are, why would it help to annotate your perspective or your opinions while reading? And the second question is, how would it help you with a discussion with someone after? So just some kind of guiding questions, because I think really when we talk about annotating, when we talk about reading, especially the older you get, you do it for you, right? You do it because you want a story or you want information. So what is annotating? I love this image on the left. This is an image from just an excerpt from a few years ago that I took a screenshot of because I thought it showed a lot of different types of annotating. At its basic level, annotation is commenting on a text. Examples of how you could show annotation, you could write on little sticky notes, your thoughts, your reactions to the text, a thing about the text you want to remember. You could stick it on maybe like the exact place by the page paragraph where something happened, maybe just at the top like a little bookmark. Maybe you underline, maybe you're a highlighter, love me some highlighters. Maybe you write in the margins, you can kind of see that on this example. Maybe you're circling, starring, boxing, doing some sort of version of like, let my eyes go back to this moment kind of thing. Maybe you add symbols, maybe you're a big star, or you love putting smiley faces or a sad face or some sort of like reaction to the text. Annotations can be done in pen or pencil. It also, obviously, sticky notes are the way you annotate when you can't write in a book, which is a lot of times in school when you're borrowing a book. So why do you need to annotate? Why would you do it in school? Why would you do it in life? Why would you do it in college if you go to college? Like, why? Why is it worth your time? Well, one, you will know where to go back to when looking for text evidence. As a 7th grade teacher, I think it's so important to pass along this knowledge to you about like how to efficiently take notes when you're reading something or like process what you're thinking in order for when you come back to a large group, which is so much of high school, so much of college, is coming back to a large group discussion and having something important to you to say. The more specific you can be when talking about what you were thinking, or the more specific you can be when recalling a moment you had when reading, the more you're going to engage the people you're talking to. And you're not just going to have some vague follower type comment, but you're actually going to have something profound that you can share with people. It gives you purpose as a reader. You know that from having me as a teacher, most likely if you've had me as a teacher, that like reading with a purpose is the whole, like that is a huge skill that is more innate than you give yourself credit for sometimes. But knowing what it is that you're going into like looking for, what you want to comment on will give you purpose as a reader. You know what it is that you want to say, what you want to comment on. And you will get more out of the story and info when you annotate. You will also be able to track those specific aspects of the text. So let's say that a teacher was asking you to track like conflict over the course of the text. Noting when those moments happen, annotating on a sticky note, annotating in the margins, even annotating on a separate sheet of paper if that's your style, is the best practice to be genuine in that moment with what you were thinking, whatever that may be. So an example of annotating text evidence, up here in the right-hand corner is a little excerpt from a short story called On the Sidewalk Bleeding. And I kind of just tried to show, like, imagine this box that says page 1, paragraph 1, he's only 16 was like my comment and I wrote that on a sticky note on the side, or I wrote that in the left-hand margin. The boy lay bleeding in the rain. He was 16 years old. He wore a bright, and let's say that I was highlighting. This is just sort of like a way of showing you that in the very beginning of this story, I had a specific goal in mind to emotionally connect to the text. Imagine I was reading with the perspective of a specific character, or maybe I was reading with a question in mind, or a critical question or lens. I would be looking for a spot where I feel the author is commenting on that question or about that topic I'm analyzing. So the whole point of annotating is sometimes it's just free form, like you want to comment because you have a reaction emotionally to the text, and sometimes you annotate because it's like the answer to the question you're looking for. My personal style, I love highlighting, I love writing in the margins, but let's imagine that I had to do sticky notes. You could do that too. It's a great idea sometimes to not only mark your spots, but to write on a sticky note what your thoughts were. It's also really awesome sometimes to write the page and paragraph. So if you're going back to that text evidence, you already have that ready to go visually when you're looking at it. Now let's talk about my favorite thing. How does annotation have anything to do with text evidence? Well, just like I was saying on that past slide, when you mark something, you mark where it happened. So that leads right into having that text evidence ready to go. You know that from discussions in my class. Prepared for a discussion, being prepared for a discussion, like you know in your heart when you're prepared. And oftentimes the reason that people don't participate in discussion is because they haven't done the footwork. They haven't done the work to mark down those things. And if you want to be a successful high schooler or a college student or a professional doing professional development, this is fabulous work to get better at. What is text evidence? Text evidence means that no matter what you're talking about in a paper, in a discussion, you are backing up what you're saying. And text evidence is those claims, those quotes, that data, those moments in a text, in a story that back up your claim, which means like the thing you're trying to say with sound, correct, relevant, proven data or information. In a book, it means like you're answering questions using quotes, using proof, using page paragraph, moments from the text to support what you're saying. It usually includes quotes, page numbers, paragraph numbers, and an explanation of how that quote or that data supports what you're saying. Why is text evidence important? You know this if you've been my student for a while. It's, first of all, required in most settings, and it's important because in most situations, it's going to help you sound more credible, more correct, more relatable, and it's going to help you connect with other people that you're talking to or talking with. Strong text evidence, and I happen to use text evidence from The Outsiders, and I did this in The Outsiders, which is a literature novel, a book that we do in my 7th grade class. The next 3 slides really you can, freeze and look through, but I wanted to give you examples of what strong text evidence looks like, assuming this was the question that I was wanting to think about and imagining that this is my response, but also my text evidence looks like this. I have the quote, I have where it's from, and I also explain how that quote supports the text. I also give examples of okay-ish text evidence and weak text evidence, meaning there's usually just an opinion and not really anything backing it up. So to sum everything up, annotation, text evidence, they are a part of sound academic work. Sound meaning like pristine, good, relevant, with it, academic work. If you have any questions for me or need any clarification, email me, talk to me. Good work, scholars.